We go over to our Seattle Sea Dragons here, who have now won 3 straight and are looking much like the team that a lot of people were hoping they would be when this XFL season started. So they played, at the time, the 4-0 Houston Roughnecks. Seattle winning that one 21-14. Our player of the game, I would have gone with the whole defense, and you still could argue that I would. Excuse me, but I would go with defensive end Nico Lalos. Lalos only 3 tackles total, but he did have the game-sealing interception on the final drive. Houston was making a bit of comeback, and with the way that the XFL does things with the 3-point, 2-point, and 1-point conversions, Houston could have walked it off. But Lalos gets the game-sealing interception. The defense played lights out. They shut out Houston, which, as I mentioned, had gone 4-0 in the weeks prior. Hold them to 0 points in the first half. The Seattle struggles with turnovers again, unfortunately. But the defense was able to hold you in the whole game. The offense was able to take care of, just enough effectively. And the defense was able to close the door. So that was a big win. I mean, Seattle's won their last 3. They beat a 4-0 Houston team to prove that Seattle's really, it's a real deal. I've got my Sea Dragons hat finally, so that's nice. No, I mean, this is continuing to look like the Sea Dragons team that a lot of people had hoped they would be. The turnovers continue to be an issue, and until they figure that out and they're able to minimize that, it'll hold back their potential. But they've got one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in all of the XFL. With Ben DiNucci leading that receiving core. Morgan Nelson led the league in rushing yards for a good amount of time. Brendan Knox is a solid runner, is a solid downhill runner. And that defense has played really well the last few weeks. If, again, they can cut down on the turnovers, this team arguably is the best team in the XFL. And you look at those first 2 games that they lost in D.C. and St. Louis. In D.C., they fumbled on the goal line, which would have been the game-winning touchdown. Against St. Louis, they had the lead and they blew it to give up a late field goal. So you could argue that this team should be 5-0 had they cleaned up their own mistakes. But that's not how it goes. We're now about halfway through the regular season. And so you just got to continue to build from here. But cutting down on the turnovers is obviously a really big key. So we'll look over here to their next game as the Sea Dragons sit at 3rd in the XFL, 3-2 record. Their next game is March 25th at the Orlando Guardians, which is a 10:30 a.m. start. Yes, 10:30. You heard that right. That game is 10:30 a.m. start. But 3-2, Seattle, with a win, has a chance to move up to 2nd in the division.